Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about uniform and logo customization in MLB The Show 26. This is often one of my most requested things on my stream, where I'm live every single day. In the comment section of this video, you'll see the twitch.tv/Thuuuuney. But I want to get back into YouTube, and I want to talk about something I'm very passionate about. And I see a ton of people online that don't have creativity or don't really know all the little tiny parts of making a uniform in MLB The Show 26, and I'm going to show you how to do all that starting right now. So number one overall, if you go to the build tab on the top of the screen, you go to customize, you're going to see a lot of different things going on here. First of all, what you need to do is you need to go over to your name and details, and this is where things are easy for the most part. You have your team location, all this stuff like that, but the main thing here is your colors. Now in the uniforms, this is not going to be essential, but what this is going to be essential for is your score bug in game, the colors underneath your players when you are running, and all of the visual aesthetics that come with your team will be cycled through these three main tabs here. So the first thing that we want to tackle is, how do we make these colors our favorite colors? If you click on the color here, you'll notice that I have a bunch of different colors in my favorite tabs. You also have the MLB colors for the for the National League, the American League. But how do you make favorite colors? Let's show you how to do that right now. Now, the easiest way to do this is to go into the uniform creator. I'm going to go to my home uniform. We're going to be doing a lot of uniform customization talk, so don't you worry. But the easiest way to do this that I've seen, upload any logo that you want. For example, I have two different logos here. You're like, whoa, you'll find out how to do that in a second. But what you're going to want to do, for example, let's say you want the Thuuuuney of my name to be your favorite color, but you see that there's 36 out of 249. You can't make a favorite color when they are grouped together. So you need to tab all the way down here to ungroup. When you do that, you are going to click on any one of the logos that you have unselected, and then you are going to click the change color tab. But you are not going to change color. You are actually going to look at the very bottom of the screen, and you will see add to favorites is going to be there. Click X, add to favorites, and now that color should be in your add to favorites tab. One of the most common questions I've gotten on these videos in the past as well is, boy, you're talking all this about the uniform, but how do I make a logo? That's not what this is. I am not great at making a logo at all. What I do have a large passion for is the uniforms. So let's, another brief segue, show you where to acquire said logos. You are going to go to the main menu of MLB The Show. You are going to go up to the create tab, and you are going to go to the vaults tab. From here, this is where you can download logos. Right now there's no inappropriate logos, which is wild. There's a lot of Dominica standard logo like you might have, and you want to be gone from the shackles of this standard logo. All you're going to do is hit search. If you go and search, just for an example, if you type in Thuuuuney and you hit start and you hit search, these are all the different logos that people have made for me. Very grateful as a content creator that there are people that go out of their own time and make logos for me. Even someone made a Twin City Connect theme logo. So what you just do is you hit download on the logo, and then you save it in your kind of history right here. These are all mine, and then you're done. And you can search for as many logos as you want to. But let's get back to how to kind of organize your uniform itself, because you might be wondering how to kind of go about that process. So let's go back to our customize tab. Let's go back to our uniforms. Let's get back to getting here. So there's a lot of things going on here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every single tab of a uniform, and I'm going to give my perspectives and my best advice on everything. And then after we are done with this process, I am going to highlight some more additional features as well. But the main part of this video too, I try and respond to every single comment on my YouTube videos. So if I've gone through a ton of things and you have a question yourself, please comment. I would love to get to it, but let's not waste any time and get into it. So for the ball cap, you have solid color, you have retro front, all these different options. I think solid color is the best option. I think it shows up really well. And for example, I have black selected as my main color. You also are going to want to go to the whole stitch color here. I think what looks the best on a hat is making the whole stitch color identical to the main color. And then if you're going to change anything, that top button color, if you're looking at the top of the screen right now, you're seeing it cycle pretty clearly, especially right there, pretty clearly. That's where I think you can have some creativity. That's what a baseball hat looks like. And I have selected, for example, a solid color with a different color for the bill. I think as far as uniformity, is that a word? Uniformity? I think I just made up a word. As far as it being uniform, I think all of it being orange looks really good. But also, you know, you might be into the retro style looks. You might want gray underneath. You maybe are going to go full retro and maybe even want some lighter green underneath. That dark green doesn't show up very well, but you have the NL and AL colors. So if you want to, you can really take inspiration from these guys. But like we were talking about earlier, if you are downloading a logo, you've already learned how to favorite that logo or favorite the color of that logo. And this is where it's important, because now when I'm making my uniform, it's in my favorite colors tab. I have 4 favorite colors that are on my uniform, the 2 colors that go with my logo that I have, and then a standard issue black that I took from the Baltimore Orioles black, and then a gray that I took from the New York Yankees gray, and then I have a white that you can find that you just like go to the very top end corner of the color selection right there, and Bob's your uncle. Now, I think stripes doesn't show up very well. I think shiny looks best for the logo. You could also pick standard. I don't think metallic looks good at all. Shiny does look the best, so I recommend going that route. And then again, we go into the editor right here. Logo is uploaded. Hit save. It's all good. It's all gravy. But one more moment, and then we will continue, I promise. When you upload the logo, let's just show what this looks like. So I'm going to load in my logo. I'm going to go all the way down to this. Now, let's talk about sizing. You are going to hit down on the D-pad. I believe it's the same on PlayStation, but down on the D-pad. And then with your right stick, not the left stick, the right stick, this will be able to scale the size of your logo. You can go left, right, up, down, what have you. That will scale the size of your logo. You want to also be sure to make sure that you're in the rotate and scale tab. Now, another thing to be working on, the rotate and scale, but also this is one last thing I wanted to showcase for real: layer order. If you are trying to layer logos, maybe you've made your own logo and you're trying to figure out how to layer, you are going to simply hover your cursor over the logo that you are curious about, and you are going to just tab with LT and RT, so L2 and R2 on PlayStation, but you are just going to tab that back and forth wherever you see fit. And that is how you do all of the kind of customization of spacing with the logo. But let us continue on to the jersey now. So there are a couple different options when it comes to the jersey. There's standard back color. Let's showcase all of them right here really quick, just so people can really understand what I am talking about. So if you look at back color, obviously that makes the most sense. Back color just means that away from standard, now there is a big back color there. Side color is a pretty cool tab as well. It is just kind of an accent along the hip. These are very reminiscent of like a spring training uniform, for example. Retro shoulders, and then standard like we've talked about before. Now, I'm going to talk about the organization of all of those at the end of the video, but for our purposes, we shall continue. I would recommend sticking with standard. I think it looks the best. But as we continue, pinstripes. If you want pinstripes on your uniform, I think the best recommendation that I can give you is this. I'm not rocking them on my uniform, so bear with me. If you're picking pinstripes, it needs to be everywhere and it needs to contrast pretty well. So I have a black uniform. Obviously, I'm going to choose white pinstripes, right? I really would only go with black and white for pinstripes. I wouldn't advise doing anything other than that. And also, I really don't think pinstripes show up that well in game either. So if we're going through my uniform here, the piping style, these are just some more options down the middle of the uniform. And this is another talking point. Obviously, I have a logo going across the entire chest. You might choose to have a logo like this, and you might choose to put this logo up in the top right-hand corner, like so. And then that logo is up in the top right-hand corner, and maybe you can organize where you want to put the number. But now let's tackle one of the number one things that I hear people say. How do you get two logos on your uniform? How do I organize things? How do I do this? How do I do that? Let's go through everything right now and make my uniform back the way it was. So I like two things on my jersey. I like my main logo and my Nike logo. Let's show you how to do that right now. So here's the first Nike logo right here. This is my favorite Nike logo that's in the vault. I think it looks really, really good in the game. I'm going to push this up in the corner, and now I'm going to hit copy on selected. You see it's on the right side of the screen. I am now going to load in my main logo, and now I am going to go to all of the fluff that I do not want on my logo, and I am going to hit cut selected, and now it's over on the clipboard. There's a lot of different frustrating things that are going on, so you might be like, well, what's the correct order of operations here? Let's do that right now. So you've loaded in your base logo. Now you are going to copy the base logo that you have, and then you're going to load in that Nike logo. I am just making so many mistakes. Holy smokes. Here we go. So that is up there. Now we hit paste, and bingo, bango, bongo. We have two separate logos that are on our uniform. And if you are also wondering, I have all these things grouped up. How do I size them? Up on the D-pad, we'll select individual logos so you can scale the size of that logo. And then now I can go back to the Nike, make this a little bit bigger. This is not the official aesthetics of the jersey that I had earlier. I'll have to go back and edit this myself. It's not the end of the world, but let's continue talking. So if we look at my jersey right now, I'm trying to create the aesthetic of sleeveless uniforms. We can't put sleeveless uniforms in the game because San Diego Studios hasn't updated this in forever, which sucks, but I digress. The best way that I think you could do that is by doing this two-color stripe kind of look to make it look like it's being cut off, and then the actual sleeve and then the undershirt are the same color, kind of creating that aesthetic. But with the collar style as well, there's so many different things that you can do. You can take direct inspiration from actual uniforms that a lot of people use. One of my biggest recommendations that people have asked is, can you make me a video on how to make this jersey? If you're interested in a video like that, comment in the description. I might even make it a YouTube video. Let me know. But we're going to keep going through and showing things off here. I think what shows up best is the thin stripe. It would look a lot better if it was in line with the uniform, but unfortunately it's not. So the thick band, I think, works pretty darn well. Again, you have to really know what style you're going for, and I don't think this goes with my style, so I'm having it off personally. But again, another thing of customization, you have your undershirt and long sleeve color. You can change these to make them look different if you want to. Again, I'm going for a particular aesthetic, so this is what I'm going with right now. And then as far as the logo finish, I think that screened looks better on the jersey. And shiny does not look as good on the jersey. But this is one really big note that I want to share to everybody. For some reason, this game has an awful time at uploading the white colors specifically in Diamond Dynasty on night games. So if you are picking a uniform that has white color in it, I would recommend playing at like July 1 p.m. so the jersey pops the way you want it to. If you're playing October 7 p.m., what ends up happening a lot of the times is when you load in the game, that white almost looks gray, and then you'll be bashing your head against the wall because you're not getting the result that you want. But that's the kind of information for that tab there. Now, if we go over to the sleeves, obviously you have many other options. We'll show this off again so you can see what those options look like. Underarm color, you can barely see it, but it's right. If I go, if I go here, you can barely see it right there. So again, that's that kind of uniformity that you're looking for. Is like if I have it going down the side of the jersey, and that option we talked about earlier would make sense if it's going down the sleeve as well. At the end of the video, I'm going to cycle through some of those combinations. But again, I'm going with black here, and then this is just some more options. Vertical double, two color. I like the two color a lot if you're looking for like a 70s kind of uniform. These are just some of the options right here. And then this is where some of my favorite options are, is right here in the jersey sleeve piping. Now, I personally have a couple favorites, so we're going to go through those right now. One of my personal favorites is the simple two-color piping. I think this looks good on 99% of uniforms, but some of the alternates even look better to me. One of those being the two-color double. The ribbon look looks fantastic if you're making a vintage style uniform, and then the retro two-color looks great as well. Again, if you're making a kind of retro look. If you're making more of a college uniform, there are some college uniforms that have a double high two color like this. And then there are some college uniforms that have some of these aspects as well. But again, if you're making an inspiration off a uniform, there's a lot of options that you can get as close as you want it to look. But again, if you have a specific jersey you want me to make, in the comments of this video, let me know. I might make it a YouTube video. We shall continue. Of all the fonts that are available, I think there's only like two that look good. I'll cycle through all of them right now. Random 1 looks like crap. Random 2 is kind of that robotic formulaic look that you're used to seeing. 3, I don't love that at all. 4 does look okay. If you don't like the kind of traditional majestic style uniform font for the close in proximity look of font 2, font 4 is a decent substitute for you as well. I don't think font 5 looks very good. Font 6 is okay. 7 is a disaster, and 8 is a psychopath, and 9 is an absolute applesauce consuming child. But maybe if you're making like a Savannah Bananas Party Animals type uniform, this might be a decent font for you. And then font 10 is just whatever that is. I recommend going with font 2, and then I have font 2 in the front as well. You want to keep things uniform, but with the front number option, if you're wondering where the option is to put a logo or a number on the front of your jersey, it's in this front number option right here. And then you want to keep things uniform. And then just to show this right here, this is how you're getting like different looks for the aesthetic of the uniform, right? And again, a big thing to mention, if you're making a white font colored uniform, that white is not going to show up well at all in a night game. So again, with this in mind, if you're making uniforms with white, I would more than likely suggest to you to be playing day games when you're playing online or offline, however you want to play the game. And then this is the tab right here to enable a sleeve number. Certain jerseys might look pretty good with that. Now, another thing that I get told a lot, can I put logos in the sleeves? No, unfortunately not yet. I have no absolute idea why this is not an option yet. In MLB The Show 26, I've been doing this for such a long time. Would have thought this would be an option, but apparently MLB The Show doesn't want us to have fun customizing stuff. Finishing up here with the pants, there might be some teenage kids growing up playing traveling baseball that have no idea what kind of expectations you should have with a uniform. In a home uniform, the home kit is going to more than likely be your white uniforms. Again, I'm making a direct inspiration off of the Colorado Rockies, and they're one of their older uniforms. That's why this is not a traditional home uniform. But at home, you're traditionally going to want to make your pants white. On the road, you're going to want to make them gray. And then any other option is pretty much an L. To a boomer, I'm 29 years old, but to an old man like me, if you want to do whatever you want, do whatever you want. But if you want to keep somewhat basic expectations of a baseball uniform, white pants at home, gray pants on the road, and then you have the belt color options that are right here. And we go to the helmet. Again, closing up pretty easy here. You definitely want to go with a matte finish. I think the matte finish looks much better than the shiny finish for the helmet. I have 2 color on right now, and that is because of the bill color right here. This is on. I used to have this look too. I think this looks great personally. This is really much reminding me of those kind of vintage style helmets that you might have seen from back in the day. So I recommend going with the 2 color approach, but for the sake of my uniforms, this is the aesthetic that I'm trying to make. So I recommend the 2 color look a ton over standard. I think it finishes really well. I really don't recommend doing any of this, to be honest with you. It doesn't show up well at all, as much as I wish it would. It's also really small, so it wouldn't really show up anyway. But then lastly, with the logo, I think it looks fantastic with that matte finish that we said, to pick a shiny logo. That way the logo pops a little bit more. And when you have a player like Jose Ramirez that has a lot of pine tar in his helmet, the shiny logo will help to peek through a little bit more despite all of that pine tar. Now, one of the last things that I nerd out about like crazy is the socks and cleats. I'm super big on this, and this is hopefully a teaching moment for somebody. Let's fly through this as fast as we can. Again, uniform should be uniform, right? So I'm trying to make a black aesthetic, so the sock main color is gonna be black. Triple 2 color A is my favorite of the striping styles. I'm gonna tab through all of them right now so you can see what they look like. But if I go back to my one that I had before, triple 2 color A is what this ends up looking like on the sock right there. And you are playing Diamond Dynasty. You are going to have some old vintage players. I play baseball currently and wear stirrups. I think stirrups are dope. But to keep things uniform with your vintage, like Dennis Eckersley players of the world, this is what you need to do to make this look like this. The stirrup sock color. I will never move on this opinion. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Or you can let me know in the comments. I don't know. The stirrup sock is the sock that you put on before you put the actual stirrup on. This needs to be a white sock. It does not need to be green, orange, blue. Anything like that is really stupid to me, because you're really trying to make the stirrup itself pop. This, you can make whatever you want it to make. If you want this to be red, orange, blue, whatever, you can do that. But you need the stirrup sock to be white so that the actual stirrup itself, there's kids watching that might not even know what this means. What is happening right now is just 2 different socks on. It might not make any sense to you, but that's what's happening. And you want to keep this uniform as well. You don't want this sock to have one style of striping and this to have a different one. And then if you want to make white out cleats with as much of an accent, you can follow this format to a T. With like white, alternate color, white, main color, alternate color, white, alternate color, main color. You can style that however you want to. Ultimately, I love having white cleats at home and then a little bit more of a neutral on the road. And then some of the last things here, the batting gloves, you can make them look however you want to. But again, this is something that, like, if you clicked on this video and you're looking at how to customize your uniform, this is how much customization you're missing out on when you just boot up with normal stuff. You're missing out on the opportunity of choosing, do I want my players to go up with white batting gloves? Do I want them going up there in black batting gloves? You have full customization options at your disposal, and you can do that right now if you want to. But what I'm bringing up right now is the armband color right here is set by me to be the orange of my logo. The importance of this is, like, you have the main colors that we talked about. If you want to think even further about, like, I have Fernando Tatis Jr. on my team, and he wears that one armband on his arm, and I want it to be this specific color. This is the area that you choose that color. Maybe you want to go crazy and you want to make it yellow. It can't be yellow unless you don't edit it right here. So again, it's so important. Did I just mess some up? It's all right. It's so important that when you finish things up, and these are my road uniforms right here. Again, this is a visual glitch. You're looking at the left side, and you're like, what happened to your uniforms? This is the alternates, or my road uniforms that I have. I'm not super in love with them, but they're pretty decent. They're new, so it feels fun for right now. But also, if I go back to my name and details, these are where I've put my favorite colors, and this is arguably the most important thing that I'm about to say. So, my colors are all here. I hit the advance button, and now it says, do you want to initialize your uniforms with these colors? Please, dear God, click no. If you hit yes, it will ruin all of the work that you just did, and it will make your uniform styled based off of your team's preset colors. We are doing this purely for our sake of the score bug, the aesthetic, and everything. You are going in manually, and you are editing these uniforms yourself to make them look the way you want them to look, if that makes sense. Lastly, catcher's gear. This is, again, your own personal preference. This is what I'm testing out. So you can look at this. I'll run through this really quickly, but you can match this with your color palette based on what I'm about to say. Main color, alternate color, main color, alternate color, neutral color, alternate color, alternate color, main color, neutral color, alternate color for the setup of the catcher's gear right there. And then for the manager's jacket, if you care about that enough, you can go and upload a logo right there as well. But let's talk about a couple more things before we wrap up on this video. If you are going to be creating things that are uniform, one of the biggest things that I see people doing is they end up going to this look right here, and now you've selected vertical 2 color. Now, where do you find that here? You got to go to find. It's there. Don't worry. But we're going to go with black, and then we're going to go with white. And there it is. Top side 2 color triple is the option right there. There are a couple different options that will pop up. This is the one that matches that if you want that kind of aesthetic, right? You need to be looking for the specific name as well. So if you're tabbing through and you see, oh boy, I only see that I have a top side 2 color double, then you need to go back over here and find the one that matches that as the vertical double. The names will not be exact. You have to be exact in how you are finding the matching of that kind of sequencing based on whatever you want for your uniform. And then this is an example of like my road cleats that I have here, having a little bit more of a darker look. Now, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I personally think when you're doing home and aways that the away uniforms need to be respective of your opposition that's wearing their home uniforms. And then when you're home, that's when you can have a little bit more fun. But if you want that kind of a vest look, you can see my main jersey that I have right there. And then just some closing notes here. This is another really fun one too. When you're playing the game online, you might see people with a logo in their foul territory up the first and third base line, and you would like to have a logo on the foul territory of your first and third base line. That is right here in the logo editor. This is somebody who made a logo. His name is Kasabi. Made a logo commemorating me doing the one chip challenge on my stream. It's been a mainstay in my stream since. I'm forever grateful to have this logo. But right now, if you've done nothing, there's nothing for you on this tab. So again, if you want to put a logo here, you're just hitting load, you're importing that logo, and then when you hit save, now this is the logo that's in the center circle right there that will be on the field in foul territory in the games that I play online. And then again, your main colors of your uniform should be your main color, your second color, and then the neutral color. And then please don't save those with the uniforms. Logo vault is right here in case you're looking for another option for it. And then the last thing, if you care about this at all in having the same bat equipment, this will not impact statistics at all. But if you would like to go through, like you've collected all these different bats and you want to make sure that the pencil bat is on, you need to go and find, I'll just show you for the sake of finding it. Here's my pencil bat. And then I would hit equip on that. And now if I back out, you see the pencil bat is equipped for me. And then you could also equip socks. I don't do that because I made my own custom socks. But that is uniform creation. Again, if you have any comments, let me know on what you would like to see. Going to be uploading some more videos, trying to at least. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.